Hey YouTube, today's blog, I guess you can call it, is going to be a little bit about Afghanistan and its current state of affairs. Particularly, I'm going to be discussing some of the elements and of the Afghan government and just the way it's been perceived in the media and the way it is right now in reality for Afghans living inside of Afghanistan. You see, ever since the Taliban were ousted back in 2001 and Afghanistan went through basically a transitional period in which the Taliban was ousted and Afghans for the first time democratically elected their own president. This is a history-making thing for Afghans and Afghanistan. This is the first time that the Afghan people have had a voice. So that in itself is a mark for change in Afghanistan. And you have to understand the political history in Afghanistan. Most of the political history in Afghanistan is a really bloody one. A lot of the Afghan leaders, a lot of the kings and the presidents have either been deposed or hung, executed, and what have you, and basically forced out of leadership. But Hamid Karzai, the current president of Afghanistan, he was democratically elected. Not only that, approximately 6 million Afghans came from abroad to return to Afghanistan in order to help with the rebuilding of the country. And 4.6 million Afghans returned from abroad to help rebuilding of their country. 6 million children went back to school after, including girls, They went back to school to, receive an education after it was outlawed by the Taliban. So a lot of, there's been a lot of, reform that has come about in Afghanistan. And I think we should recognize that. And there's been, Karzai and the current government has received a lot of flack, rightfully so. But, we should also focus on a lot of the positive aspects that have taken place in Afghanistan in the past 10 years. You see, the expectations of the Afghan government are very realistic. For starters, they're looking to increase the per capita income for Afghans to $500, which is twice the income that Afghans currently enjoy, which is approximately $270. These vested interests will ensure that Afghans won't turn to criminal, activities such as narcotics. Keep in mind also that as long as terrorists destroy and disrupt, there's no need for them to talk. There's no need for dialogue or discussion for them. Success for the Afghan government means building a school, building a hospital. It takes at least 2 years to build a school. In order to get all the teachers, in order to convince the parents to send their children to school and what have you, it takes only about 2 hours for the terrorists to be victorious. What they do is they go kidnap someone in the middle of the night and behead them. This is considered victorious. This is considered a victory for the terrorists, for the Taliban, or what have you. And as long as they can do that, there's absolutely no need for dialogue and discussion. Absolutely not. And let me just also mention that our religion, the religion of Islam, is a religion of peace, tolerance, diversity, equality, and justice. Islam doesn't instruct Muslims to isolate themselves from the progress of human development. Islam has always encouraged people to be active participants in public life, to uphold the welfare of the community, to strive for good. Not just for ourselves alone, but for all Muslim and non-Muslim alike. This is the essence of good citizenship anywhere in the world. And the people who use Islam as a scapegoat to justify violence, they're not going to get anywhere with that. And that has been really the history of Afghanistan. People have always used Islam as a means of justification. But I don't want to get into that. The real point of this blog is just to remind people of the many good reforms that have taken place in Afghanistan for the past few years that Karzai has taken office. There's a very active parliament that's in Afghanistan. A lot of really good, honest Afghans who are true patriots and who are participating in the reconstruction in Afghanistan are part of parliament, and they're taking the initiative to help their fellow Afghans. So I think that these type of things should be talked about. I'm an Afghan myself. I'm an Afghan American. I was born in Afghanistan. It's something that's near and dear to close to my heart. And Americans should be aware as to what's going on in Afghanistan. You should be aware as to where your tax dollars are going. The war in Afghanistan, is the longest war that the United States has ever been involved in. So I think people should, the Americans should at least know a little bit of the history of Afghanistan and what's going on inside the country and some of the major reforms that have taken place. All over the media you hear nothing positive about Afghanistan. You're always hearing about corruption and the government and girls being murdered, beheaded, raped, and what have you. And these it's they don't report enough about the positive things that have taken place. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out, and if you guys have any questions, comments, please, rate, subscribe, comment, and hopefully I'll, get back to you, alright? Thanks for viewing my blog, and have a good night, and Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslims. Have a good night.